In the summer heat of August 4th, 1892, in the quiet town of Fall River, Massachusetts, the illusion of safety within one of the city's most respectable homes shattered forever. Inside the seemingly secure walls of the Borden household, a crime unfolded that would echo for more than a century, becoming one of the most haunting unsolved murder cases in American history. What happened inside that house did not simply end two lives. It fractured reputations, destroyed trust, and raised a chilling question that has never truly been answered. Who really killed Andrew and Abby Borden? The Borden family was wealthy by the standards of their time, but wealth in that house did not translate to warmth or peace. Andrew Borden was known as stern, frugal, and unyielding. Despite his considerable assets, he refused to modernize the home. With conveniences such as electricity or indoor plumbing, something that even average families were beginning to accept as a normal part of life. Living inside this rigid environment were his daughters, Emma and Lizzie Borden, grown women still residing under their father's roof. Their relationship with Andrew's second wife, Abby Borden, was cold and strained. To them, she was never mother. She was simply Mrs. Borden, a sign of emotional distance that ran deep beneath the surface. Beneath politeness and manners, resentment lived quietly in the structure of the family. Tension had grown not only from emotional disconnect, but also from matters of inheritance and favoritism. When Andrew began gifting property and financial advantages to Abby's relatives, his daughters believed that the security and wealth they expected to one day inherit were being stolen from them. Each decision Andrew made seemed to carve a deeper divide inside the home. According to accounts, even the air between them held suspicion. Then, in the heat of August, that tension broke. On the morning of August 4th, the Borden household began like any other. Present in the house were Andrew and Abby, the maid Bridget Sullivan, and Lizzie Borden. Emma was away. Abby's brother-in-law, John Morse, had also been there earlier but left that morning. It seemed on the surface like an ordinary day in an ordinary house. But before midday, everything would turn to horror. Sometime before 11 a.m., Andrew Borden returned home and rested on the sitting room sofa. It was within those walls, in broad daylight, that he was brutally murdered. His body was discovered with his face destroyed by repeated axe blows, his features unrecognizable, his life extinguished in an act of rage, so violent that it defied belief. The calm quiet of the house suddenly became a scene of chaos. Lizzie Borden would later state that she discovered her father's body. Her screams reportedly alerted Bridget Sullivan, who rushed inside to witness the horror. But if one gruesome murder were not shocking enough, what came next would turn the case into legend. Concern spread to the whereabouts of Abby Borden, and when she was searched for, her body was discovered upstairs. She had been attacked earlier, struck again and again. Her skull split open, her life ended just as violently. Two murders, hours apart, executed with ruthless intent inside. A house that showed no real signs of forced entry. No clear evidence of an intruder. No clear sign of panic. Only two bodies, a weapon believed to be an axe, and unanswered questions. Investigators immediately noticed something peculiar. The house was not in disarray. There were no signs of robbery. Nothing suggested a stranger's desperate struggle. It was as though the killer moved with familiarity, confidence, and knowledge of the home. Suspicion naturally began to turn inward. Bridget Sullivan maintained that she had been occupied with housework, particularly cleaning windows, remaining consistent in her statements. Emma Borden had a clear alibi. John Morse was corroborated elsewhere, but Lizzie's account began to fracture under scrutiny. She spoke of being in the barn during the attack. Yet investigators found thick dust undisturbed with no footprints supporting her claim. When questioned further, her version of events shifted. Stories changed, explanations contradicted one another, and certainty in her innocence began to crumble. Then came the disturbing revelation regarding poison. Reports emerged that Lizzie had recently attempted to purchase prussic acid, a deadly poison, only days prior. Though circumstantial, it cast a darker shade across her character, and suspicion hardened. Motive theories gained strength. There was the tension with Abby. There was the resentment toward Andrew. And there was the brutal incident in which Andrew reportedly killed Lizzie's beloved pigeons, decapitating them with a hatchet. For those trying to make sense of the murders, it appeared as though years of emotional pressure Bitterness and suppressed anger may have finally exploded. Authorities ultimately arrested Lizzie Borden, and the case moved to trial in June of 1893. Public fascination exploded. Newspapers devoured every detail, painting Lizzie alternately as a victim of misunderstanding or as a cold-blooded murderer hiding behind gentility. The courtroom became not only a place of law, but a stage for social morality, gender prejudice, and sensational speculation. Prosecutors presented the axe found in the home, but it was clean too clean. Forensics of the era lacked the ability to conclusively test whether blood had once stained its blade. That absence of definitive proof cast doubt. Even the theory of Lizzie burning her bloody dress became murky. Witness Alice Russell testified Lizzie destroyed a garment days later, claiming it was stained with paint. There were no confirmed blood traces. Suspicion lingered, but concrete proof was elusive. Just as compelling as evidence were social perceptions. Lizzie Borden was known as religious, charitable, active in her church, a respectable woman in a society that rarely associated brutality with femininity. Jurors struggled to reconcile the violent savagery of the crime with the poised woman sitting before them. Many viewed it as nearly impossible that a seemingly respectable lady of status could commit such a barbaric act. In the end, the court declared Lizzie Borden not guilty. The verdict did not resolve the case. It merely released her back into the world, a free woman permanently followed by the shadow of suspicion. Afterward, Lizzie and Emma inherited their father's wealth and moved into a grander residence. But wealth cannot purchase acceptance. They lived under constant scrutiny, whispered about in town, never again truly welcomed into society. Over time, even the two sisters fractured, eventually parting ways permanently. Lizzie lived out her years increasingly isolated until her death in 1927. Emma died soon after. Neither ever married. Neither ever escaped the legacy of that August morning. Yet the world did not let the story die. Instead, it transformed it into folklore. Children sang songs, chanting chilling rhymes about Lizzie, wielding an axe, embedding the murders into cultural memory. The truth of the crime faded into myth, while speculation hardened into ghostly permanence. As years passed, photographs of the victims surfaced publicly, turning the tragedy into spectacle. Historians dissected the case repeatedly, each generation revisiting it with renewed fascination. Some saw Lizzie as a murderer shielded by privilege, others as a woman wrongly targeted by circumstance and prejudice. With no confession and no final proof, the truth remained forever trapped in uncertainty. There are even haunting genealogical footnotes. Among distant descendants in the Borden bloodline exist individuals linked to criminal pathology, including neuroscientist James Fallon, who famously discovered psychopathic traits in his own brain scan. He later traced alarming criminal patterns across ancestral lines and found Lizzie's place. Among them, an eerie coincidence, or a reminder of how darkness can echo across bloodlines. More than a century later, the Borden murders persist as one of America's most infamous unsolved crimes. The house still stands, preserved like a frozen moment in time, a monument to fear, anger, and the darkest parts of human nature. The rooms are quiet now, but the silence does not erase what happened there. Instead, it deepens the mystery. Was Lizzie Borden a killer who walked free, or was she an innocent woman trapped in a nightmare she could never escape? No jury can answer that now. No witness remains alive. No confession will ever surface. Only the memory of violence remains and the unsettling truth that sometimes the most terrifying mysteries are those that live inside our own homes,